Song Revolution with John CHISUM on the NRT Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It's always great to have you here, and I hope that you'll take a minute to share and like and subscribe and help us launch Song Revolution out to all of your friends and fellow songwriters and worship leaders and anyone who loves worship and worship songwriting and anyone who might appreciate what we're doing here. You know, we're in our 8th year here at Nashville Christian Songwriters, and I think things are just cranking up. I'm so excited to share with you over the next few months some new opportunities that are coming up for us that I think you're really going to want to be in on. The first one is our next online workshop happening on June 10th. It's called Called to Write for the Kingdom, and I'm just so stoked about this topic that I wanted to dedicate this podcast to it and help you make this year count in a big way for your worship songwriting. And I've had the privilege of writing and publishing hundreds of worship songs and leading worship on 2 major recordings with Integrity's Hosanna Music series that literally went all over the world. In fact, I've traveled to many parts of the world leading worship and teaching, and it's all because of songs I've written and published. It all really does begin with a song, and I'm so grateful to have been able to write and sing and record and publish songs that have had at least some impact on the kingdom in a very positive way. And as I look back now, I realize that a couple of the songs went viral before that was even a thing. And many of these songs have been woven into the fabric of worship in entire denominations and appeared in hymnals and were used extensively in their moment in worship history. And here's the thing, the principles that I use to write and publish all of those songs never change. The ideas and the principles I use, the techniques are still exactly the same, and you can use them too. And that's why I started Nashville Christian Songwriters, to help you step up to reach your fullest potential as a Christian communicator. I just know that you've dreamed about it and longed to figure this out, and that's why God made me. He wants me to download to you everything that I've ever learned so that you can level up and step up into the most powerful songwriting you've ever done in your life. And that's what the workshop is about on June 10th, to help you finally get the kind of information that you need to step up to your highest possible level of communicating your faith and your testimony, and to lead people into worship in ways like you experience at church or maybe you hear on the radio. I've enjoyed that privilege over decades, and it's your turn to step up. And all the information is in the show notes, so go ahead and register if it's not past the date. And you know what, even if it is, use the link to access the replay page and get in on the workshop that I think could be transformational for you. Because, okay, listen to me here. I don't think that you need more inspiration. I believe that you need more skills and the information to take the right next steps to fulfill your calling to write and get your songs out there to glorify God like you've wanted to do for so long. So let's get back to that, to your calling. What does it look like to be called to be a Christian songwriter in 2023? Well, for starters, it looks like to me that God's just blown open the heavens in a really big way, because where's my phone? I'm filming on my phone. You have infinity in your hand, but it's just too big to know how to use sometimes. It can be so confusing, and if you're not a musician, it can be even scarier and more daunting to understand how to use all those little apps and programs and pixels and get likes and shares and downloads and followers, and the whole world's just been turned upside down by technology, and it's just spinning faster and faster. But at the same time, there are people of all ages who are getting rich by becoming TikTok stars and influencers and internet gurus, selling you their systems and series and whatever you'll buy from them. And it's freaky and confusing and hard to navigate, especially if tech isn't your thing and you wonder where all the good music's gone, right? Well, tech is here to stay for sure, and might not get that much easier if you don't love it and use it and keep up with it all the time. But here's the deal. You can learn to use the parts of it that you need. You don't have to know how to use all of it by any means. I kind of think of it as a salad bar. I mean, you can pick the platforms that serve your audience and serve you the best. Facebook is for older users and TikTok for the kids. Instagram is in the middle right now, and Twitter is just in Elon Musk turmoil, so don't even worry about that right now. I just happen to believe that your most important task isn't to learn tech, but it's to learn greater songwriting skills and practice your craft until you're writing songs that are actually compelling enough, for your potential listeners. And that's exactly what all of our coaching programs and workshops are designed to do. I mean, I don't think you have to worry about the various social platforms until you have something worth sharing. I use this statistic a lot, and it's probably even higher than this right now, but Spotify releases over 60,000 songs every day. So you've got to find a way to compete with that in the quality of your songs, or you'll just sink in a sea of mediocrity. And we don't want that for you. So if you feel a calling from God, okay, let me ask you this. Won't he make it all happen for you? Yeah, well, maybe, but maybe not without your participation. You've got a part to play in this thing as you follow him into the fullness of your calling. That's my experience. And that brings me to my primary point today, that is, to make it in music means that you've finally owned the fact that you are responsible for how you present yourself to the world. No one else is going to do it for you. I recently had Chad Segura on the show. He is the VP of Publishing for Centricity Music, and he summed it up best on the podcast with me here when he said, "Stop sending me your songs. Make enough noise where you are, and I will find you." And that's just the way it's working now. Record companies are looking for fresh, young, driven artists who are already building a significant platform before they will pick them up. I mean, they have actual software that can find every single internet hit on an artist and actually measure their direct impact on the algorithms when they post their social post. So that's crazy to me. But rather than fight against that and criticize the record companies, I think that we're in a time when we have to let them do their thing and go make all the noise we can, whether they pay attention to us or not. I mean, to me, making them pay attention to us isn't even a worthy goal anymore, except maybe in some very special circumstances. I mean, there are just simply too many of us out here making great music to fit into the tiny pipeline of Christian record companies and the radio networks. It's a very narrow bandwidth, actually. But God's given us the most powerful publishing tools that anyone can have right in our very hands. So what if we start using it and making as much noise for Jesus as we can right here, right now with what he's given us? Okay? What if we do that? What if we don't worry about the record companies? Let's just do what we can with what we have. All right, so talking about your calling, here are 3 things that you can do right now to step deeper into your calling as a Christian songwriter. Number 1 is to take this next week to pray and ask God what your specific mission is as a songwriter. Ask him why he's called you and to whom has he called you? What's he really put on your heart to sing about and say in your songs? I mean, in my experience, it's not enough to say that you want to worship. Okay, everybody does. Or use your talents to glorify him. Of course you do. But that's so generic and generalized that you can't take clear action on it. Neither can you take real steps when you say, I want to encourage people or share the gospel. Of course you want to do those things. But what's your specific message? If you had to tell me in 10 seconds who you want to reach with your songs, who would it be? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds. Go. Why do you feel compelled to reach them? What kind of music are they already listening to? Where do they consume their music? What groups do they frequent? And what kind of churches do they attend? Who are the artists they go see in concert? All these questions are important and influence everything about your songwriting, from word choices to the form of the song and the melodies you write and the singability, where the song is pitched and marketed, and really everything that you can imagine. The only other way to approach your writing is to just blab out any words that you can think of. Don't worry about what they are and put a melody to it and call it a song. Now, a lot of aspiring writers do that, expecting that people will love their songs just because they're proud of themselves for writing something. But until you flip the script and write for a real audience, you're just adding to the sea of songs out there that we're already drowning in, and there's just no good reason to do that. If God's called you, then He's got a specific audience He's called you to. And that brings me to my second point. Once you've prayed and gotten some direction on your specific reasons for being called to songwriting, can you soberly assess your level of talent to even do songwriting? Obviously, songwriting requires some measure of musicality, though not necessarily musical training or even the ability to play guitar or keys, though those definitely do help, or even sing. I've known a number of highly successful songwriters who didn't play anything and they weren't singers, but they had an innate musicality that helped them hear how lyrics should be crafted to fit into different styles. And they literally had thousands of songs recorded, literally, and published in their careers. So what level of musicianship or musicality are you at really? Are you stronger with words or with melodies? Have you gone deep enough into pursuing your calling that you understand your strengths and weaknesses so you can go get the training you need to actually write songs anyone would want to hear? I've been training songwriters in our NCS Pro Song Mastery groups for 8 years now, and my measure for allowing someone in the program has always been the level of their desire and not the level of their musicianship. And that's an important distinction. I don't want to work with you because you might have more talent or money than other writers. I want to work with people who just want this so badly they'll invest themselves and their time and their finances and blood, sweat, and tears to fulfill what they feel so passionately about. And it really takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there and say you feel truly called, because a calling demands more out of you than you might ever imagine. I mean, we see the big Christian artists on the stage or hear them on the radio and have no clue what it really took to get them there. We don't know the money and the time and the pain it's really cost them to be where they are. A calling is demanding. It's not something to take lightly or treat like a hobby. I mean, if you aren't driven and it's a hobby for you, that's totally cool. I'm really driven in my calling to download 40 years of success in songwriting, or I couldn't have survived 8 years of building Nashville Christian songwriters and surviving all the ups and downs of running a business. I mean, it's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me rephrase that. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and one heart attack so far to keep it all going. But I'm truly passionate and driven, and I won't stop until I drop because I feel that committed to what God's called me to do. And that's how, that is to help you figure out how to do your thing in the biggest way possible. So once you feel a call and start to identify what it really is, then it's time to roll up your sleeves and get busy. And that's my third point for you. There's a wonderful quote from Antonio Machado, a poet, who said, "Wanderer, your footsteps are the road and nothing more. There is no road. The road is made by walking." You might have heard that. And that always reminds me of one of my life verses in Proverbs 16:9. And it says, "The mind of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." No one can tell you exactly where your path may lead, but one thing is for sure, you've got to be walking and taking whatever steps you can take for the road to rise up to meet you, or for the Lord to direct your steps. You got to be doing something. You got to be walking. You can't just sit around on your blessed assurance, eating Twinkies and bonbons, waiting for God to drop songs on you or record deals, or to just, pour all these things into your life. We co-create our destinies with Him. I think that we have to be up and about the Father's business like Jesus was in order to realize these dreams and passions that we talk about all the time. So here's a question. What's the one small thing you can do right now to take a step into your calling? I believe you know this deep in your heart. I mean, your next right step in your calling isn't my next step. We're on different paths and in different places and cultures and life circumstances. And You may or may not have the finances yet to jump into recording your songs, and maybe that's not even the next right step anyway. Recording your songs doesn't make them great or even ready to be recorded. Maybe your next right step is to cough up the $47 to be on our webinar Saturday and start building relationships with other songwriters and artists and worship leaders and hang out with people doing what you want to do. And get yourself into the right kind of community to learn more about how to do this thing. I had been in music companies as a song development guy for years, but I was clueless about how to run this company. And now, after these 8 years, I can teach whole business seminars on what to do and what not to do when starting an independent business. But I had to start trusting God and stepping out to begin to see the road rising up to meet me. And in my experience, I found that I didn't have to know how I was going to get where God wanted me to go. I just needed to start trying, start taking steps, start moving. And He's always met me one step at a time. And that, I think that's what a lot of aspiring artists and writers want. They want guarantees that they're not wasting their time or money. They want to know if they're good enough long before they've gotten good enough. My question is, are you called enough? Are you ready to be one of the 1,000 dedicated Christian songwriters I'm committing myself to train in the next 5 years here at Nashville Christian Songwriters? Are you ready to take responsibility for your ministry, to roll up your sleeves, to start stepping and taking the next right step to making the dreams God's put in your heart a reality? Well, if you are, then I'm here to walk alongside you at whatever level you want. And that's why we do the show and offer blogs and video courses and online webinars and our 8-week online mastery training, my one-on-one coaching and opportunities, and our brand new artist development program that you can read about over at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com, or you can look in the show notes for the links. Now, if you're called and ready to take some massive action, I'm here to walk with you as we watch the road rise up to meet you. Go ahead and jump into the workshop with me on June 10th. The link is in the show notes, and it just might transform your mindset and your entire life and ministry as you take even a small step towards God's calling in your heart. We're going to have an amazing time, and I can't encourage you enough to go for it. I believe God's got an audience for you and is longing even more than you are to use you. This calling is actually, the way I think about it, it's God wanting to reach through you, through your words and melodies and ministry, to bring His love and life and His mind-blowing presence to a whole lot of people through you. So let's go for it together and redeem every day by living into the dream to glorify God with our gifts, our talents, and calling. And I'm hoping to see you on the workshop this Saturday. Go ahead and register, and you'll get the replay if you're unable to be there. And if you're listening to this at some later date, just use the same registration link in the show notes to go purchase the replay. I guarantee you it's going to be worth it. It's going to be so fun. I'm so pumped about this. So, all right. Well, I hope to see you Saturday, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you being here for the show. I've got some great interviews coming up soon with Ryan Stevenson and Nathan Sheridan and many more incredible writers and artists who are living their dreams one day at a time. All right, guys, I'll see you next time on Song Revolution. Hey, thanks for joining us on the show today. I hope that you'll jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and check out all the resources there to encourage you in your own songwriting. And if you like what we're doing, why not share this episode out on your socials? You can find the link in the show notes. We'll see you next time.